Like most quality cuts of beef, this one originated in jolly old England. It's February 2017 and Drake is jetting around the world on a tour looking for new cultures to vulture. Sometimes it feels like Drake maintains his flagging relevancy by sucking the clout out of SoundCloud rappers like a Dementor from Harry Potter, then tossing them aside like a backup dancer at a Madonna after party. So at some point on the tour, Drake is in Amsterdam previewing his new absolute banger with British Peckham legend Giggs, KMT. And if you don't know, KMT stands for Kiss My Teeth, or like that, KMT. Oi, oi, put on that new Drake tune. No, put on. Yeah, that's the one. That's my jam. Anyway, once this snippet drops, a lot of people are noticing that Drake's flow at the start sounds suspiciously similar to X's flow on his hit song, Look At Me. I guess Drake must have thought if he culture vultured Giggs and X at the same time, maybe the two would cancel each other out. Not too long after this snippet came out, Drake sat down for an interview with British legend DJ Semtex and discussed the similarities between his flow and X's, basically saying that he could see the similarities after the fact, but he wasn't biting X to begin with.
So I'm just like, yo, what's happening to me right now, you know? So I'm sitting there, I'm trying to read, figure out who they're talking about. I find out who they're talking about, and I listen to it. I'm like, okay, I see where people could draw this comparison off of the first two lines, whether it be the cadence or the rhyme pattern, or whatever. Yo, it's crazy that people think that after all this time, after all I've been through, that I'm the type of person to go some song that's on SoundCloud. It doesn't have 2 plays. It has plays, he has his cult following, and go and think that I'm gonna take that and make it my own. I'm not stupid. I'm not like a person like that,
X obviously reacted to the situation very maturely by coming out on Twitter and saying that Drake's career is over. That didn't age well. But while we're here, we might as well call foul on X's entire claim that Drake stole his flow because of the fact that in 2015, Lil Uzi Vert used pretty much the same flow on his song Super Saiyan Trunks. That song actually came out in July 2015, several months before X's Look At Me first debuted in December 2015. And even if that's not enough for you, for many years before this was even used by Lil Uzi, several rappers have used flows which are kinda similar to it anyway. Anywho, X ramped up the Drizzy disrespect to a whole other level, making a phone call from jail to DJ Academics, who I assume was in his mother's basement, basically refuting Drake's claim that he didn't know who X was before KMT came out.
Basically, XXXTentacion is saying, yo, what, nigga? Bro, you knew about me. You reached out through someone else who's a mutual friend or something like that, and you gave me props in an interview you saw. You were well aware of me, and if you were well aware of me, you were probably well aware of my song, so don't act like you just found it after the fact and you found me recently.
Yes, according to X, Drake's camp had actually already been in touch well before KMT came out, which is unusual because Drake's camp usually only get in touch to offer you the morning after pill. And to add even more evidence to X's case, in March, X's former manager and human gun range, Adam22 from the No Jumper podcast, confirmed that Drake's team had already hit up DJ Carnage before KMT had come out to talk about working with X.
Do you think Drake bit him?
Hell
I
yeah. Fuck no.
I don't think he bit him.
I'm open to both scenarios.
Well,
a week before this shit happened, Adam told me, he's like, bro, guess who hit up DJ Carnage
Drake
about X? Drake was asked about it in that DJ somebody interview, some interview he just did, and he fucking acted like he never heard the song before.
Wait, Drake did?
Yeah,
Drake
on
said
Beats
that?
One, yeah.
A week later, even more jailhouse conversations between Academics and X start to emerge to stoke the beef even further. Now, these recordings last for a while, so long story short, X makes the following claims about Drake. He says that Drizzy is a culture vulture and is always stealing from up-and-comers.
I feel like Drake and all of the older generation or the people out top don't want to see anyone shine besides himself. And it's with the culture vulture, being called the culture vulture. And there's also something I wanted to say.
He reminds people that Drake stole his song Hotline Bling from Dram, who had originally planned to do a song with Drake that was a remix to his single Cha Cha.
It was Cha Cha. It was a Cha Cha remix. Shout out to fucking Dram, by the way. Shout out to Dram. Phenomenal rapper, phenomenal artist. He's doing very well.
Go look it up, that's absolutely facts. And thirdly, and probably the most bizarre part of this entire story in my opinion, is that X basically suggests that Drake should have come to his court date and put in a good word for him to the judge.
I would have reached out and yo, how the fuck can I help you? Come to my court, come to a court day or something, you know what I'm saying? So you really care about the culture. Don't speak about the fucking culture and just eat and pick up the remains of what you can find If you really want to help the culture and you want to help people, help these young niggas that's going through everything, that what they going through, you know what I'm saying? Reach out like a real nigga.
Now, it's this aspect of the beef that, to be honest, completely threw me off and makes X seem kind of delusional in my opinion. I mean, X was originally awaiting to go on trial for a robbery as part of a home invasion that he'd been involved in before his music had even popped off. Then, after posing a $10,000 bail, he was arrested again, this time for battery and false imprisonment of his ex-girlfriend. And you might actually notice that the mugshot for this arrest is what ended up being X's cover art for the song Look at Me. Even in spite of the fact that after his death, recordings did surface that seemed to suggest that he admitted to abusing his girlfriend, as well as pretty clearly suggesting that he had stabbed several people.
But she fell through on every occasion until now. Until I started her up, bro. But I started her up because she made one mistake, and then from there, the whole cycle went down. Now she's scared. That girl is scared for her life. I'm on New Times for stabbing how many people they put in the news. They said 3, it was 8.
Now again, let me make this clear. This video isn't about judging X or trying to pin those crimes on him. But for context, X was accused of beating and strangling his pregnant ex-girlfriend, locking her in a room, refusing to let her leave, and threatening to sodomize her with barbecue instruments. So the question isn't whether X is guilty. The question is, when you're accused of beating, threatening to kill, and imprisoning your pregnant ex-girlfriend, why the fuck would Drake turn up to your hearing and put in a good word for you? He doesn't even know you. Yeah, sure, even at the time, X hadn't been convicted, and who knows where this case would have ended up going had he stayed alive. But what do you think, Drake's just gonna pop in and drop a hot 16 because he thinks that you've got a nice flow? He doesn't know you. Why would the hottest rapper, the most squeaky clean, hot, successful, money-making rapper in the world, put it all on the line for some guy with a nice flow who's accused of trying to serve up his girlfriend like she's a fucking dish at Benihana's? So unsurprisingly, Drake didn't show up to X's hearing, and X decided to ramp the beef up a whole other level by inexplicably deciding to shoot his shot for Drake's mother. X went on to try and pull up on Drake's mum again on Instagram Live that day.
Tell Drake, Mom, I want some tapioca pudding.
Frankly, these are pretty low-class moves that come right out of 6ix9ine's playbook, but you gotta admit, they're very entertaining. By the time April rolls around, X is not ready to take his foot off Drake's neck yet, and begins dissing him once again for using his fake Jamaican accent, another quite amusing diss that I'll file under culture vulture accusations.
Tell this pussy nigga Drake, stop speaking patois. You are not Jamaican. I'm a real fucking Jamaican. I'm from fucking Kingston. All of my family is from Kingston. Stop stealing my people's culture. Get the fuck off our dick.
At this point, Drake still isn't talking. He seems to be taking the high road. But then again, in mid-April, things heat up a little bit more and they start looking like they're gonna spill into the street. So before you know it, Chicago drill rapper 600 Breezy decides to book a first-class ticket on the Clout Express and throw his name into the beef. He came out and said that he asked Drake if he should get at X. Apparently Drake responded the same way he does when you ask him when the last time he saw his kid was. Meh, he shrugged.
My homie, can I get on somebody's ass? He always say no, and this time he just gave me a shrug, like it's whatever, because he tweaking.
A few days after that, X responds to 600 Breezy stepping up for Drake, saying that Breezy should shoot X if he sees him, and that X could get Breezy knocked off in his own hood.
I got a couple niggas that'll knock you off in your own city. In your own fucking city.
I know they say 600 Breezy is a certified Chirac thug, but I personally would not start a beef with anybody this proficient with barbecue tools. But a week after that, things seem to have cooled down a little bit, and 600 Breezy is seen having a great time with Drake at Coachella. It looked like that clout chasing and dick riding paid off after all. But a couple weeks after Coachella, 600 Breezy swaps sweaty white girls with dreadlocks for blocks and bandos and pulls up in X's hood in Florida.
X already told him, walk lightly while you in my state. And basically 600 Breezy said, fuck that, I'm stomping through.
Things finally fizzle out between 600, Drake, and X, and the beef chills down a little bit until June. Drake decides to drop a little bit of disrespect on X after X is knocked out on stage by Rob Stone, and Drake liked a comment mocking X because of this.
He liked a comment on my Instagram page from someone that says, rock up, bye baby, with a bunch of laugh emojis, and another one just tagging some other person.
That one I thought was a little bit low and pathetic for Drake. I mean, for a guy that likes to keep it classy, I'm surprised that he would bother doing that so disrespectful. And then again, for X, a guy that's being accused of pretty disgusting stuff still doesn't deserve to be publicly humiliated and knocked out cold in front of a whole bunch of people, no matter how entertaining it is. And it is entertaining. But that's kind of the end of the beef for 2017. Things quieten down for the summer and everybody has a good time. X comes out to calm the public's nerves about North Korea. Whew. Hey, maybe he could have made a good diplomat if he hadn't gotten in a fucking fight everywhere he went. X also finally releases his album 17, which goes on to be incredibly popular. And Drake, on the other hand, kicks back and dines on more life for the entire summer. Drake also reinforces his love of clout-chasing goon 600 Breezy by signing him to OVO. So from there on out, you can expect to hear a lot of Chicago drill-inspired songs from Drake and absolutely no music dropping from 600 Breezy, as is the OVO way. But by 2018, there is another scandal brewing. To begin with, things look like they're going in a pretty positive direction, and academics jumped on the phone with X to recap the Drake beef. X apologized for going at Drake's mum in a pretty unclassy move, but then he also doubled down, saying that his song Look At Me was incredibly similar to KMT and that Drake was definitely biting his flow.
I apologize to Drake for coming for his mom.
Do you think he deliberately did it, or maybe like?
Yeah, bro. Fuck yeah, bro. Fuck yeah, bro. And I'm not gonna say no names, nigga. A DJ hit me up. Not only a DJ, my manager at the time hit me up. Said, yo, this nigga Drake hit us up and he wants to talk to you.
Meanwhile, a snippet of a song seemingly featuring Drake and Trippie Redd starts doing the rounds online. That song would end up becoming God's Plan. Now, in January, X announces his Helping Hand Challenge.
I'm gonna be going to a foster home, and I'm gonna be donating a bunch of clothes, a bunch of PS4s, like shoes, just different things to the kids. I'm gonna donate like a bunch of stuff to them. I was actually gonna start a movement called the Helping Hand, where you guys like record you doing good things for people and kind of spread that positive energy. Okay guys, so I'm gonna be starting a challenge. It's called the Helping Hand Challenge. And in this challenge, the way to participate in this challenge is basically whoever makes the most donations gets to meet me, spend a day with me, gets to go out to dinner with me, kick it with me, play video games, and get like a shout out and just something simple, and maybe even $1,000 reward is the one who documents and helps the most, not only homeless, but the most people in need.
This is another interesting development in X's career. My immediate thoughts upon seeing this, much like many people, were that it was pretty much just a blatant attempt for X to kind of manage his public persona and score some karma points so that he might get slightly more favorable treatment from the judge when he finally hit trial for these domestic abuse charges. And we know for a fact that he's looking for favorable treatment from the judge because last summer he kept saying why wasn't Drake turning up to tell the judge what a nice guy he was. Now that doesn't discount all of the good that X has done, and his Helping Hand Challenge video is really inspiring, and I think it's really great what he did for these people. So in spite of the fact that what X did was objectively good and he should definitely be championed for it, you can't spend your entire teens doing home invasions, assaults, stabbings, and barbecue poker related sexual assaults and think you can give away a few PS4s to make up for it. And to be honest, this is kind of exemplified by the fact that this whole Helping Hand Challenge was the basis of a vlog that X was putting up on his channel. You could probably contrast this with a lot of the great work that someone like, say, Nipsey Hussle was doing in the community that people didn't really know or give a shit about until after he was murdered. So big up for X for his helping hand, but also doesn't really make up for the bad stuff he was accused of. Yeah, okay. But regardless, good intentions or not, this entire thing would be soured in a month's time when Drake comes through with his video for God's Plan. This video famously saw Drake riding around Miami giving away money and things to people in need. He eventually ended up giving away an entire $1 million, which when you consider the fact that this took place in Miami, Florida, which let's not forget, Florida is X's home state, it just adds a little bit of extra salt in the wound. Drake then makes an Instagram post that seems to kind of shit on X's challenge, and academics and X jump on a video and let the world know that they think that Drake is sneak dissing.
He says this: I'm not into challenges on IG. I find them annoying. But today I'm going to challenge everyone to go out and do something for someone, anything, the smallest thing, just to bring another human being some joy. And please tag me in it somehow so I can see all the love being spread. You don't have to play the song in the background or have some hashtag. This isn't about streams and all other tactics being used. Just go be kind in any way you can, and let's all watch the world be nice to each other, even if it's for 24 hours. Thank you. Now, here's the thing, because there's a couple words in there, a couple phrases that I was like, kind of seems like he's taking shots at that Helping Hand Challenge, all right?
Looked like he was. So in what was at least an exciting development for DJ Academics, he actually got a phone call from Drake, and apparently the two of them chopped it up, had a conversation, and Drake said that he wanted to make it very clear that he wasn't actually trying to sneak diss X in his Instagram post. Hey, I thought it was a pretty obvious sneak diss, the people thought it was, but Drake said it wasn't. This wasn't really enough to convince X.
Hey, I don't want anybody to take my remarks to Drake as a diss in any shape or form, because I am actually really happy about what he did for the city. All I wanted was basically to address the situation for what it was, because I was being contacted. Also, another thing, I am very, very, very grateful, and I am glad at least Drake was able to be publicized for the good that he's doing for the city.
But that is essentially the end of the story, and we all know that a few months later, sadly, it was all over.
Deerfield Beach, the rapper XXXTentacion has been shot, apparently targeted while shopping for a motorcycle.
It's pretty safe to say that Drake and X ended things on pretty bad terms, and after the botched robbery and murder of XXXTentacion, quite a few people came out chanting conspiracy theories that Drake was somehow involved in the murder of X. In fact, when the music video for Sicko Mode with Drake and Travis Scott finally comes out, X's childhood friend and YouTube sparring partner Tankhead comes out and suggests that there's a scene in that video that is a direct diss towards X. And it doesn't end there. Before you know it, there's an army of YouTube hip-hop conspiracy theorists touting all sorts of ideas that X was killed by Drake, and Drake has been peppering hidden messages about this murder in his music for the past few years. Whether it's the lyrics that Drake recorded years before X was even killed that have been taken completely out of context.
XXX SMS, that's the only time I ever shoot below the neck. Yeah, that could really refer to taking naked pictures and sending them via text message, aka SMS. Right?
Or whether it's the alarming, if slightly innocuous Instagram post that X made before he died, suggesting that if anything happened to him, that you should blame Drake. Or even the most half-assed conspiracy theory of all, the idea that supposedly the song Mob Ties is all just a cloaked expression of Drake saying that he has people